Hi everyone. So, God had me come on here like immediately. I was watching. Okay, let me back up. Oh my gosh. I don't. Where do you want to start? Okay, so I've been telling you guys that my boss, the GM, has been on vacation, right? And so the supervisor has been coming in and subbing for him. So I've been working with him since Tuesday because that would normally be the GM's first day back from his 2 days off. So I worked with him Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I worked with him Friday, Saturday. And today is Sunday. Today is my day off. And then I got to go back to work tomorrow. And God is wanting me to do all kinds of things, but I'm like, because it's a little overwhelming. Like he wants me to go to the women's expo. He wants me to go get sushi. He wants me to go grocery shopping. I'm like, there's only so many days and hours in the day. Like by the time I get there with the bus and I come back, and then I go to the store and then I come back and then I go to sushi and I come back, and of course he's like, Uber. And I'm going, okay. So there will be an Ubering somewhere in there, but I'm thinking to sushi, not to the to Walmart, or because the light rail, or the trolley as I like to call it, is gonna stop the right at the Civic Center where the Women's Expo is. Okay, so he's telling me to start at the place where he had me yesterday. So I'm going to talk about my experience yesterday at work. And so when I was at work yesterday, as you know, the supervisor has been like just turning everything upside down, and his focus was me, because he was supposed to be up front helping me, helping us in the front area, because that's what the manager, the GM, he stacked the, where is it? There it is. Okay. I opened right up to it. It was 7. Okay. There's not a 7 in here. Why is there not a 7 in James' father? Sorry, guys. Hang on. Oh, well. So, oh no, it wasn't 716. It was James. I didn't write it down, but I did type it into the phone. Okay, we'll come back to it. God will bring it back to me. He had me look up James 7:16 yesterday, and this Bible doesn't have a James 7:16, but in the James 7:16 in the NIV version that I was reading online, it said, in the waiting, so the patience in the waiting, you have to be, you can't be complaining, you can't be upset, you can't be, because I was telling God, my body hurt, my body was in pain. My body was sore. And then he was reminding me, when was the last time I felt that way? And it was right before he changed my schedule to the daytime. And he goes, because things are about to change again. And I'm like, okay. So, okay, I see how you're flowing. I got it. Okay. So this one, he wants me to then lead into earlier today, or earlier yesterday. So I came into the store. It was the same as always. One of our regulars, he's a special needs person, was, riding his scooter in front of the store. And I was like, hey, I said hi to him. And he stood there and talked about how, the 99-cent store was going out of business. And I said, yeah, I know, sometimes businesses get into trouble too, just like people. And he goes, yeah, he goes, I went through a bankruptcy in August of last year because I got into a little trouble where I couldn't pay my bills. And I'm like, oh, you see, yeah, I understand. And the supervisor's getting out of his car and he's kind of like just watching this guy talking to me. And then finally she leaves, and that's the boy's name, or young man's name. I don't think he's a boy. I think he's an adult. But he's a bit autistic. So he doesn't have the social behaviors that people are used to. So he's louder than you should be in a particular setting, or he blurts things out instead of asking questions or phrasing them politely. So it's just, and God is working on his life to release him from the things, and one day he will. But this isn't the time, and I'm not the one. There is someone that he will come across and will help him in that manner. Anyway, because not everybody is for us. We don't help everyone. There is a set time that God has for certain people to be of service to others. And if you start putting your feet ahead of God, you're going to get into trouble. That is why it's always important to wait, to listen to what God is telling you. Yes, he has me doing multiple things at multiple times for various people. But again, it has to be according to his will, according to his time. I could see the same person 15, 20 times, and it's the 30th time that God finally leads me to speak to that person. I could run into the person the one time, and God has a word for that person. Sometimes it's not even talking to them. Sometimes it's just praying over them. So you have to start with your patience. God has to instill this ability to just sit. And it's almost, I don't like the word meditate, but it's almost like you're meditating. You're just sitting, waiting, and listening, and searching in the spirit. You're allowing your spirit to move through heaven. And so as you're coming through these people, think of it like the X-Men. If you remember, the professor had the ability to channel his mind using the helmet, the computer, and he could find any specific mutant within the world or within an area by using his mind to focus on that individual signature. Okay? Now take that and put it into the spiritual context, okay? And you're basically, you're sitting there. You don't have to close your eyes. I sometimes do. Sometimes it's easier to focus on the spirit versus what's going on in front of me. Sometimes I close my eyes because I don't want to see what's in front of me. It's the bus. I'm sitting on the bus, and the bus goes up and down, and the bus goes round and round, and the bus goes up and down, and it goes forward and backwards. Anyway. So sometimes I'll be sitting there, or I'll be standing there waiting for the bus, and I'll start to feel something. So I get very still. If I'm listening to music, I'll pause it, and I start to focus. And then sometimes God will lead me to speak to someone, or sometimes he'll just lead me to see something that I'm going to need for future, something that he just wants me to be aware of. It could be that maybe somebody's behind me that is ill intent. So I have to keep, my things closer together. I have to be cognizant of what's around me. And so it's not always a word. Sometimes it's other unctioning that you're getting. But you can't understand the different things that you're being pulled to do, or the different things that you're being pulled to see, unless you still your mind so that God is what you hear, so that the Holy Spirit is at the forefront. And so yesterday, a young man who's been on vacation, and he took time off from work because this was the first time that he wasn't going to have school or anything extracurricular to do. So he took some time off from work because he thought this would be the perfect time for him to just be still. Oh man. Anyway, so God is, so I already know he's coming, okay? I'm expecting him. And so I get my stuff done in the morning, and then I know that there is about a half hour because I don't have to do any ranch. Because we've prepped ranch every day during the week, today I can now help in the kitchen. And so I went to the kitchen and I'm like, hey, do you guys want my help? I have about a half hour before I have to get anything else done. And the supervisor just looked at me and goes, yeah, jump right in. And so I'm helping Joseph. And, Joseph and I we've got, we've become friends. And so when we're together, we talk to each other. And so we're sitting there, we're, doing our jobs, and we're talking. And then we start talking about the pizzas. And I started asking him, I said, so, because I noticed that they top heavier than I do. And I was like, wait, why do you guys top so much? And then he goes, oh, well, look, because we were making two specials, and two pizza specials. So we have pepperoni, ham, green peppers, onions, and mushroom. And so I was asking him, about the look of the pizza. And he goes, oh, well, that picture right there is the different stages of the special. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, look, see how it goes through? I'm like, honestly, I thought it was different pizzas at different, like, what they're supposed to look at the different stages. And he goes, no, that's all one pizza. I'm like, oh, I'm way under topping then. And the supervisor is listening. And so I start topping heavier than I normally would. Because the way I was trained from a different company is you make it look appealing. Their motto is you give the customer what they're paying for. If they're paying for a $15 pizza, you're giving them $15 worth of toppings. Completely different mindsets, completely different attitudes towards the customer, towards the worth of the customer's money. So, I'm putting the toppings and I'm putting all the other toppings on the pizza, and now it's starting to look more robust. Eyes to see and ears to hear, please, because this is just everything that God is having me speak about is metaphorical, even though it is happening in the real time, real world. Okay? Everything that he is having me go through is representative of what we have to toil, how we have to work in the field to get a harvest, okay? He's been having me plant seeds here and there and everywhere. And he goes, and keep planting, because if you stop, if the farmer decided today, okay, I've planted everything I'm going to plant, and he didn't, okay, so I come from a family of farmers, and I can tell you that they would designate certain fields for certain times of the year to plant, because one crop wouldn't be completely ready for harvest while the other area of the land was ready for planting for the next season. So God is having me, in some instances, plant seeds that are going to be instant fruit. There will be seeds that will be for another season. There will be seeds that will be for another time, but within this year. So I have been planting, and I have been planting, and I have been planting, and I have been planting. I've been putting things out. I've been giving, putting out the words that God has been wanting me to put out. I've been filling people up with the way God wants me to fill up. I've been taking the rest like God wants me to rest. He looks at it as the cleanliness of your place is not important. And I'm like, huh? And he said, it's your temple what matters to me. If your temple is filthy, but your house is clean, then you're doing me a disservice. And I was like, well then, you know what? You'll tell me when it's time to clean. You'll tell me when it's time to tidy everything up. And he's preparing me. He's been having me buy this chemical and that chemical and this cleaning product and that cleaning product. And the same thing with the apothecary learning. He's having me look up the different plants, the different things, and he's having me go look and see in this and that. So he's preparing the path, because when it's time for me to start, I have to already know where I'm going to go, so I don't waste time. It doesn't do me any good to do it now, because right now I don't have the space, I don't have the time. I've already done the pre-work to be able to successfully create seeds, or not create seeds, but create plants. I've already done it. I've already put the work, the time into the learning of how to do that. Now it's a time of educating myself of, okay, where am I going to go to buy this? Where am I going to go to buy that? When it's time, when he says, okay, now I want you to go do this, then I can go and immediately purchase here, purchase there, and I can start what he wants me to start. It's understanding the levels that he's having us go through. So first you have to learn to be patient. That's the foundation. You have to learn to stop in the midst of the chaos, in the midst of all of the things that are going wrong in your life, in the midst of everything that just does not feel good. You have to be able to still yourself and just sit with God. Don't worry about the bills. Don't worry about anything else. Just focus on God. That's what I did. Okay? And oh my gosh, there's so much to say. So much. Okay. Okay. So he's been building, he laid the foundation, and then he built on top of that, and 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 he built on top of that, on top of that, and on top of that. So now I'm elevating and every time. So when he built me up to here, he said, okay, now stand still and rest. I was like, okay. Because he needed me to acclimate to the new level so that he can continue building to the next level. My mind has to also transition with the levels I'm moving. I can't leave my mind in the basics. I can't leave my mind behind. He needs all of me, my heart, my mind, my body, everything needs to elevate. If one part of me isn't ready to move to the next level, then he isn't able to fill me again. Because there will be learning curves, there will be trials and tribulations that will teach me the things that he's trying to get me to learn. You cannot build skills. And oh my Lord. Oh, so I had a conversation this morning. Sorry, guys. We're just flowing. So I had a conversation. It started last night after everything I went through with the supervisor. Okay. So after everything I went through with the supervisor, and we finally got the store cleaned up, and then he comes to me because we had a huge party today, 35 people plus our regular business. And because this group took a chunk of tables, other people took those chunks of tables and broke them down, and they took over those areas. So I couldn't separate the tables. And so I cleaned the tables, I got everything done, and then the supervisor comes up to me and he goes, "We need to put those tables back." I said, "I am, but we need a sweep before I start moving tables back." So I was waiting for people to leave the area so that I can sweep up everything, and then I can move the tables back, and that way the room is now ready for the next rush. And he looks at me and he goes, "Okay, that's fine." And this man goes and sits in the office and he just stares at the cameras, because we have cameras throughout the restaurant, okay? And he would see me. I'm sweeping. So what I like to do is I like to take all the big stuff and bring it out into the open. So then I make a pile, and then I can sweep that up pretty easily. And then I started slowly pulling chairs out of the way, putting the tables back, putting these tables back, putting those tables back. And then the room looked back to normal. And so finally, Cody comes in, who's closing last night. He was closing last night because, he's taking some of the night shifts that Will would have had. So Will would have been the closing manager last night. Nick is not going to close. The supervisor is not going to close. So he is going to close, and then he's going to open on Sunday. Normally, Cody would have opened on Saturday, and he would have opened on Sunday. So back up to yesterday morning. So we're cranking out. Like, we've got, 30 tickets, and each ticket has between 8 and 30 pizzas. Okay? And these are all for delivery. We've only got one delivery driver. The supervisor's already upset. First thing that happens, he finds the door open, unlocked at the front. And he looks at me and he goes, "Was this door unlocked when you got here?" I'm like, "You know what? I didn't check." And we had just had that conversation on Friday, because on Friday he showed up early. He showed up at 8 o'clock. And he goes, "Are you going to just sit there, or are you going to come inside?" And I'm like, "Oh, I saw the lights on and I saw the doors. I didn't check the doors." I said, "Because be it me that goes and checks the door and the alarm goes off." And I said, "And now I have to explain why I tried to open the door." No, I'm not having that conversation. I'll just sit here, wait. And then Saturday, the door's unlocked. I don't know if they tried to see if I would go inside. But he came in 10 minutes before, and then Joseph came in through the back door. We had the performance guys were delivering our goods. And so we walk into the store, now we're into the making the pizzas, and we're just cranking them out, and we're putting one da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da, and I'm going. And then finally, about 10:15, The supervisor looks at me and he goes, "Is there ice in the ice bins?" I'm like, "No, I was about to tell Jack to go put ice in the ice bins." And he goes, "Okay." And then so I went to Jack and I said, "Hey, Jack, can you put ice in the ice bins?" And he goes, "Okay." And they don't put a lot of ice. They only put maybe 3, but 3 tubs this full. That's not enough to fill the ice bin. Supervisor didn't like that. So Cody's been getting texts since the morning. And so he comes in and he's a little cautious. Like he doesn't know what he's walking into. And he looks at me and he goes, "How was everything?" I said, "It was good. We had a good day." And he goes, "Okay. All right." I said, "There were a couple hiccups, but it wasn't," I said, "We did find the front doors open, unlocked." And he goes, "Oh, that's probably blah, blah, blah." And I said, "I didn't know." He asked me, and I was like, "I don't know. You have to ask Cody because I don't know why the doors would be open this early in the morning." And he's like, "Okay." And so, I'm not going to try and lie to cover Cody. If he made a mistake, he made a mistake. But if he didn't, and there's an explanation, and it doesn't match what I said, now I'm giving false testimony, and I'm not going to be a false witness, because that's a no-no for God. So I said, "I don't know. You'll have to ask Cody." He then asked Joseph, and Joseph was like, "No, I came in the back way with the performance guy." I said, I didn't even know. I didn't even touch the front doors." And he goes, "Okay." And so, that was our interaction for that. So he already got a text about that. And then when he starts to pull the tickets and he starts to see the number of tickets that we're having to deliver with one driver. So literally he made a plan in his mind. He's like, "Okay, we're going to have these ready. And as soon as he comes back, we're going to help him load." And he literally did. We were a beeline, just bringing one after the other after the other. The driver didn't have time to get out of his car before we were already there, delivering, taking him the order for the next person. Eyes to see and ears to hear. So, we go back inside, and Jack and I go back up to the front counter, and now, this is what he tells us. And I realize this is a test to see how we're going to be in the waiting, okay? So he told us as soon as we started, "I am not making the other pizzas until you have an order for them." I'm like, "Okay, no problem." We didn't get an order for a ham and pineapple until 1 o'clock. So yeah, had we made one at 10:30, it would have gone to waste. We would have had to throw it out and make a new one. And so the other young man's like, "Oh, we need to call back pizzas." I said, "No," because we had half a pepperoni and we had half a sausage, and that was it. That we didn't have anything else. I said, "No, I'd rather call back fresh pizza for a customer and have those there just so that customers know that we are still having slices than throwing them away and then customers thinking we don't have slices today." And he was like, "Okay." And I said, "But if someone orders, don't give them the ones that have been there for a while. Order new ones." And he's like, "Okay." So we did get a few people that came in and, wanted pizza, and got those out. And then our business showed up, because that's how it works on a Saturday. Sometimes you get busy in the morning, early first thing, or sometimes you get busier later in the afternoon. And we started getting our lunch rush. And so we're and getting it done and getting people out and moving, and we're delivering pizzas, and the supervisor's watching me. He's seeing that I'm taking out 2 and 3 orders at a time. I'm not taking out a single order and then coming back, and then another single order and then coming back. I'm getting the plates for each of the orders. I'm making sure I know which one's which, and then I go deliver, deliver, deliver. And then I come back and I do the same thing with pizzas. You know, if it's 1, 2 pizzas, I'm taking those and I'm delivering them at the same time. I'm not waiting. I'm not coming back for one single pizza. Eyes to see and ears to hear, because God is using me to show you what's going to happen with your blessings. So we took care of this party, and they had an open tap. So they were just having people come in, order their drinks, their salads, or whatever they needed, extra pizza if it was needed, and then they all went to sit down. And, you know, so the man was very happy because he was having a conversation with these folks that he had invited to this recognition lunch, and thanking everyone for their support, their help, and the work that they did in whatever it is that they were doing. It had something to do with coins, because the shirts they were wearing said "working with coins." So I'm thinking that it was like one of those coin collection type situations. I don't know. Anyway, so he was thanking them for the work that they did. And at the end, I ran through the receipt with him, and he was good. And he gave us a $30 tip. And then, of course, the business came. And then everything was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So when Cody came in, he already knew, because he had been getting messages throughout the morning. Like every little thing that happened, he would text them. But I've learned that this man, that's what he does. Like the entire day, he's got his little headphones in for his phone. They're wireless. So he's got his phone in his pocket, and he's, yeah, okay, sure, yeah, yeah, you know, he's working, but he's talking to whoever is on the other line. And he's talking to all of his stores, the stores that he supervises. And then he remembers, oh, store so and such had such and such problems. So he calls them, hey, did you fix the problem? Were you able to figure out what was going on? So these people are trying to run their stores, and he's calling them and pulling them away from whatever they're doing so that they can answer his questions. And I'm sure they felt the same way I did. Like, can you please stop calling? So, and every time that he had a moment, not once today, or yesterday, sorry, not once yesterday did he go to the dining room and clean a table. The day before